What is up, everybody? I'm Johnny Blacklight. Welcome to the channel. Here we talk about all kinds of weird stuff. Cryptids, UAPs, conspiracies, glitches in the Matrix itself, and more. Subscribe and stay a while. But yeah, man, I found this really creepy story here on TikTok about a Native American monster entity. And it's a really creepy one, man. So I figured we'd jump on, check it out, and see what we thought about it. So yeah, man, let's get into it.
One of the most terrifying creatures in Native American folklore, I believe, makes its home pretty near our property. And this is just one of my many stories of run-ins that I feel like me and my family have had with these creatures. So tonight I figured I'd give you all a pretty creepy story that happened to me and my wife, Michaela. So when we started this place, there was almost nothing out here. It was just a blackberry farm, essentially. And this is supposedly where we're at in Seminole, Oklahoma, is supposed to be, I'm not allowed to say the word, but it sounds like Papua New Guinea, and it's the most horrifying creature in Native American folklore. This is supposed to be like its home. In fact, there's a house right down the road over in those woods that's like an old decrepit house. No one lives in it. It's like in the woods, and it's known as the Papua New Guinea house. Let's just call it that. It's essentially like these owl creatures. So anyhow, they have power supposedly, and they can mimic things. And one night I was out here feeding the animals, and it was right before dark, just kind of how it is right now. Felt great outside, just right before dark. And I'm bent over, unlatching a chain for one of the enclosures. And my wife walks behind me, and I remember looking over, and like, this might sound silly, but I remember she was wearing like these little red like booty short type things, and I was always like, heck yeah, like it's my favorite pair of shorts that she wears. And I remember thinking that that's how much stock I took of like her walking behind me, and she was going down the trail, and she was going to feed some animals in the barn a little bit further down the trail. Now this barn always creeps me out. It's not there anymore. This was like an old decrepit thing that was there when we first moved in here, when we were getting the place set up. And it was just like a temporary thing. But this thing was old. It was dark. There was no lights out there. And it was like getting pretty dark outside. So I remember thinking like, dang, I didn't want to go down there alone, you know. Glad she's doing that part. And I turn and walk back into our house. And when I walk back into our house, I open the door, kick my boots off. And there she is making dinner right by the stove. And I froze for a second, and I was like, how'd you get back up here so fast? Like, how did you beat me up here? And she looked at me just kind of confused and stunned, and she's like, I've been in here cooking dinner for like the last half hour. I don't know what to tell you. And she was not wearing the same outfit that I was thinking that she was wearing just a minute ago. Like, she's got on like sweatpants and a t-shirt. And I mean, I think she's messing with me. So I'm kind of like spinning out and I'm spiraling, because we had already had some creepy stuff happen out here. I've talked about it in previous videos. I'll talk about it again if y'all want me to. But I was never like a real big believer in like all the Native American folklore stuff. My wife is Native American. And when I told her what happened, she's just like, no, like, do not go out there. Do not go to that barn. And I was like, well, somebody's got to feed those animals in there. So, but she's like, right now you cannot go out there. That was a lure. That was a mimic. And it is trying to use your mind against you. It was wearing like her favorite my favorite outfit that she would wear. It was using my heart of like, normally I wouldn't want her to go down there by herself. Just weirdly enough, that day I went back inside, and she was like, something was trying to lure you to go down into that barn by yourself. That's off in the corner of the property. It's so far back in the corner of the property. If you yell back there, you can't hear anybody up front. Like, it's that far down in there. And it was just like this like creepy, just like overwhelming feeling of like dread went over me after that. And I was like, oh my gosh. And we've had countless weird experiences with what I think are those creatures. The most terrifying thing like in Native American folklore ever to me is that. So what do y'all think? I don't know if you've ever had experiences like that happen to you, especially if you're around in the Seminole, Oklahoma area. I would love to hear if you've had any of those kind of run-ins or incidences. And you can just drop them below. I would love to read them.
Man, that's just so creepy, right? Man, just so unsettling. To me, the first thing that comes to mind with this one is just like the helplessness of it. Like this entity being able to get into your mind. You know what I mean? That's just like so unsettling and creepy. And just the detail of the image that it can put forth for you. Just the fact that it can get into those depths of your mind, apparently. Man, that's just so unsettling. And like I said, just the helplessness there of like, how do you fight that? How do you go against something like that other than just not being around it? And without knowing these tricks, you know what I mean? Without knowing that these things are out there. And if you don't know the folklore behind these things, who knows what could happen to you? You know what I mean? It's just like the things your brain starts thinking of whenever you think about the situations of people who do follow these things and who do go for them and go with the narrative that they create. Because this mimic phenomenon is just so creepy to me, man. It's one of the creepiest aspects of these things, other than like some of the stories of the way they look whenever they're sighted is obviously super creepy. Just the uncanny look that you hear with a lot of the things like this, the skull heads with the long arms and legs and like rotting flesh and stuff like that, just the creepiness of them. I always hear those descriptions when I hear stories about when people see these mimics for what they truly are sometimes. So yeah, for me, the mimic phenomenon is just a really creepy one, man, because I've heard so many stories about being called out into the forest, something calling your name in almost an uncanny robotic voice. One of my favorite YouTubers has a story about that. Dan Bell. Go check out Dan Bell. Highly recommend his content if you're into abandoned stuff and creepy stuff. But yeah, in some of his lives, he'll tell stories about stuff like that. And this one reminds me of his story. Being out in the woods as a kid and just being called into the forest and then having like a really, really bad feeling, a feeling of dread come over him and then running out of there. But yeah, man, some of these Native American stories is just so crazy, man, because like there's a community of people who like kind of substantiate these claims and are like, yeah, man, there's something to this stuff and you got to be careful with this stuff and you got to watch out for it and you got to know what to watch out for. So like I said before, it's like the helpless part of it is like not knowing what to watch out for and then getting caught up with something like this. Ugh. So creepy. So scary, really. But yeah, man, I highly recommend this guy's TikTok too. Nomad's Animal Encounters. I've seen a few other videos. I know I've saved a few that I want to go over here on the channel. So you'll probably see this guy pop up a little bit more. He's got some interesting videos. So yeah, go check him out. Solid stuff. But yeah, man, have you had any encounters with mimics or anything like this? Do you have any stories like this? If so, let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. But yeah, man, I think that's going to do it for the video. I just saw this one and I was kind of collecting some content to react to and I wanted to jump on and get some quick videos done. So I felt like this would be a cool one to do. Go check out the social media too, man. I've been doing a little bit more over there. Johnny Blacklight on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, putting some creepy edits together and some more shorter stories, like short Reddit stories and creepy stories about stuff like this. So if you're into this kind of stuff in shorter form, check it out over there. Not a whole lot right now, but I'm getting there with momentum on that kind of stuff. I feel like the momentum here on the channel is pretty good. I've been pretty consistent with getting videos out and stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to like kind of channel that momentum into the short form stuff and the social media and some edits and stuff like that. It's pretty fun to kind of mess around with sometimes. But yeah, man, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe for more. I'm Johnny Blacklight. Y'all have a good one, and I'll see you next time.